So one of this morning's must-read opinion pages is from Charles Blow, whose latest for the New York Times is entitled, Biden Becomes a Boon for Democrats. And in it, Charles writes in part, quote, with a string of successes, President Biden is building momentum and shaking off narratives of ineffectiveness. Also, Trump has resurfaced as a foil. The stench around him grows stronger as investigations intensify and damning revelations continue to emerge. They may not alter the fealty of his followers, but they remind the rest of us of the horror we escaped by ejecting him from office and how desperately we don't want to return to it. Whether other Democrats want Biden's help or not, I believe that they are going to need it. Running away from the leader of your party is never a good idea. It's a particularly terrible idea when that leader is on a hot streak. And Joe, I mean, you cannot argue that Joe Biden is on a hot streak. You watch certain networks and all you see is on a loop him falling off his bike or stuttering or whatever that he admits to having. But he's on a hot streak. He's passing landmark legislation. He stands for the rights of women, which have been taken away after 50 years. This is a president who's doing well despite everybody trying to. Oh, wait, what does this sound like? It sounds like Joe Biden every step of the way. He always gets underestimated, and then he comes out actually on top.
Well, I mean, you're right. There are a lot of people on the Trump right who will say Joe Biden falls off a bike.
Again and again and again, or gets an ice cream cone, or takes a vacation.
Or he gets an ice cream cone. They don't talk about the fact that the guy they love, the former president, tried to lead a fascist coup against the United States government to stop the peaceful transfer of power. They don't. They'll say, oh, Joe Biden stutters. Well, yeah, he's kind of been doing that
stutter
his entire life. So they want to talk to you about that. They don't want to talk about the fact that he's passed this Inflation Reduction Act that's extremely popular. And a series of other things that he's led on Ukraine exceptionally well in a way that's had bipartisan support, a bipartisan infrastructure bill, the most comprehensive bipartisan gun reform safety legislation in 20 years, the most comprehensive expansion of VA benefits in, 10, 20 years. They don't want to talk about that. And they certainly don't want to talk about the fact that their hero, former president, actually absconded with boxes full of government documents, secret documents, classified documents, top secret documents.
What was he doing with them?
They can't even explain it. They can't even explain it. Meanwhile, Republican legislators are chasing 10-year-old girls out of states that had been raped, making them go to other states because they say that their parents and the 10-year-old girl and their pastor and healthcare professionals have absolutely no say in what happens to that 10-year-old raped girl. We do keep bringing it up. I think it's important to say you've got a Texas attorney general who is fighting hard, pushing back on Joe Biden, trying to protect women who are on the operating table, moms on the operating table, whose very lives are at risk. So Texas Republicans are actually trying to stop Joe Biden from protecting women from dying on operating tables in the state of Texas. Look it up. Ken Paxton, look it up. They fought that. You've got somebody running in the state of Michigan, the Republican gubernatorial candidate in the state of Michigan, who actually said, not making it up, she said it. You can hear the quote. She said it on a podcast, that a 14-year-old girl getting raped by her uncle is a perfect example of why she doesn't want 14-year-old girls, victims of rape or incest, to be able to make decisions about what to do after that unspeakable tragedy takes place, on what to do if there's going to be a forced pregnancy, a forced birth that's sanctioned by the state, or whether they can talk to their parents, they can talk to their preacher, They can talk to their health care provider. They can talk to their mental health provider. You just go down the list, one after another, 18-year-old wackos being able to go out and buy weapons of war and going inside of schools and shooting up and killing little kids while police officers are outside because they are outgunned by an 18-year-old wacko. Republicans don't want to do anything about that. Most Republicans don't. 90% of Americans want universal background checks. Republicans are siding with the 10% and the gun makers. You could go down the list, one after another after another. All of the things that have unfolded over the past 6 to 9 months have shown Republican radicalism, Trump Republican radicalism at its very worst. And I will say, I believe there are a third of Republicans who understand that Trumpism is literally killing the Republican Party, that it has already killed conservatism. And perhaps, just perhaps, we may see the party one day move in a direction opposite of where Donald Trump's taken them tragically over the past 6 years.
All right, this